What is going on, everybody out there? What is today? Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. Wednesday, if you're over on the other side of the globe. Joined today by RG3. He's in the back. He's fired up, ready to get out here and rip you all a new one. Funny story. I was in the. He opened a Twitter space yesterday morning, and some dickhead came in there and was like just hooting and hollering about maxis and like, oh, if I didn't move my coins around and trade this and that, I would be, if I was just sitting in one coin, I would have lost my ass. And it's funny because then RG came back and he was like, I'm getting fucked from the left, I'm getting fucked from the right. One day I'm a maxi, one day I'm a shill. I can't make up my mind. What am I? And it was just funny because people always see the market the way they want to see it, and they're so damn opinionated. And I think like maybe the takeaway here is, look, guys, everybody is welcome to have their own strategy. It's a bull market. It's game on. This is player versus player. At this point, we don't need to tell you what to do. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way. So all we can do, like RG and I, who've been out here splitting the spleen for coming up on like 3 years in my case, coming into my fourth year, and RG for even longer than that. It's like you'll either get it or you won't get it. But if you just even take in just a little bit and you just suspend all of your preconceived notions or opinions on what you think you know about somebody, you might find out that there's a lot more there than meets the eye. So without any further belaboring of this idea, let's bring forth the Captain RG3. How you doing, buddy?
What's happening, brother? How's it going?
It's good, man.
I'm trying to get my new specs comfortable. They eat into my nose. I got some new glasses, and trying to become Mr. 3 versus RG, the pirate Captain 3.
It's okay. We like the pirate.
So on yesterday's spaces, and here's what happens a lot of times is that, because of this 2D world we live in, and this, meme culture and chat room function, everybody gets to say their piece, whatever. It's hard to have a real conversation with people. And a lot of times things get lost in the mix. Like I had a conversation with that gentleman afterwards, and we squared it all away because it was just kind of misunderstandings. And then with me, what it comes down to, the reason I go on rants and do all this is because, the straws get piled up on my back over and over and over and over and over again until finally somebody just drops a one-liner that I just have had enough, right? I lose my shit and I just like, shut the fuck up, you kids. I'm tired of this. And so that's sometimes where that comes from more so than anything. And a lot of these people that do get me to lose my shit sometimes, they didn't mean to, or they are my peeps too. So, and that's the other thing is that I value everybody in the crypto space here, even the toxic ones and all that. But you nailed it when you said, it's all of our own perspective. Like for me, I'm not worried about the prices. I'm not worried about it. My finances are not what I'm worried about. And a lot of people out there, their finances are what they're worried about, and so they're always on edge. They're always looking at, what's going to affect their bags. And, if RG doesn't if he's not a max, he's not going to help us pump our hex bags. And then if RG's not looking at our project and saying something nice about it, he's not going to pump our bags. And, and it's just like, that's the kind of thing I get torn in between. And really, like, it's really every man for themselves, like you said also. And it's like, you've got to watch your bag. And if you're worried about influencers and what they're saying, then you go out and do it. And you go out and stick your neck out there and your face out there, and you go build a following, and you go speak into people's lives. You want to know what accountability and responsibility is, and people coming at you is like, go start a crypto stream. Go. I dare you. I fucking dare you to go out there and create your own crypto stream and try and appease everybody or give information to everybody that's valuable, or see how tough and thick your skin is. That's Yeah,
It takes
that's
a
why.
long time to build that thick skin up, especially if you're just getting into this space in social media for the first time. I mean, I bet you 90% of people don't make it past the first hate mail. You know what I
No,
mean?
no. The first time somebody sends you pictures of your kids and your social security number, you're like, ah, turn that shit off.
And I
Race,
mean,
throw that
that
computer away.
is way too prevalent, in this space. But most of that's just weak people behind a screen. But yeah. So I think RG, if it means anything, I think you have a really valuable place in this community, and I appreciate you working as hard as you have. People might not see everything that you do, which that's okay though. They just see the grumpy pirate, and that's okay too.
That's okay too.
At the end of the
All of it.
day, we have to sometimes, as like a content creator or like a promoter, you have to basically take the bullets, because and you will never get recognized for like the toughest things, the toughest decisions, and like things that really move the ball forward. And I've learned that too. It's like, I founded a cryptocurrency that went up 2.2 billion X against PulseChain. And but the first time that there was an 89% red candle, I heard about it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there he goes, dumping on his people. Like, yeah, not really.
Say that X's again that you did.
2.2 billion X. Yeah. I call it the most efficient cryptocurrency on PulseChain because it did the 2.2 billion X, but it's only had $2.5 million of volume, and the market cap's only like $6.5 million. People are like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Yeah, so it's kind of funny, but that's just a thing. That's like, I think I can find solace in my technical skill. Like, so I don't need anyone else to tell me shit because I already know what I know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're the same with what you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an expert in some fields that don't even matter here. Like I've proven myself to the world. I made a living and a career out of, doing something that most people would crap their pants trying to do. I worked for Elon Musk, like met him, like did some very important special stuff for him, that other people can't and won't do. So that's, so I sit here and when people criticize me, I kind of like,
well, it's like
what,
you're not even
Mr.
trying to start shit, and then you're getting that from what I mean?
Mr. 2D with 7 followers on Twitter has something to meme me about or something, whatever,
Yeah.
And so really it doesn't matter. And I know that what we and all of the people that care are doing here, we all have a greater understanding of what's going on and what our accountability to that mission is. Like when you and I we've got to meet in person a bunch of times, and whenever we sit down and we have conversations, we kind of solve the problems of the world. We start uncovering things and talking about stuff, and it's just sitting down with like-minded people like yourself, and imagining what crypto can do for the world, and what DeFi can do, and what the products that we already have in our hand can do for the world, and going, man, there's a whole group of us that are trying to drive this narrative forward. It just gives me hope. It gives me strength. It makes me feel like we're on the right side of history and we're going the right direction, versus all the noise sometimes.
Dude, I'm so fired up by being first to DeFi. Like, nobody else
Like
created
first, bro. Like
nobody else
first.
created the first certificate on the blockchain. That's something that we're there first. Nobody else did that first, and you see all these other things come and go. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Things come, and then and nothing can compete with Hex, right, in that regard. And it's cool how it kind of aligns incentives. It's something you talked about a lot in 2020 and 2021, if you remember, about how Hex like basically puts everybody on the same team, and a lot of other cryptos they don't really do that. So when it comes to something like getting together for a meetup in Vegas, that's like a really powerful thing because there isn't as much combativeness. There, like, everybody can see because they're invested in it. They got skin in the game. There's no better way to learn than having skin in the game on something and all working towards the same goal. And that's what Richard Hart did, is he put put a bunch of misfits on the same team, and now we get to go basically accidentally become like ultra wealthy and do the right thing. Basically, that's the choice you have, because the alternative is you could have just dumped your bags, you're out, and then the system punished you for doing it. And you're basically out, and you're no longer the cool kid. Like, for example, there was a dude that nuked $9 million of hex at the top of the last cycle, and he just got done nuking his last 700K, but he lost like 600 million hex in the process. Like, doesn't really seem like a smart play. You know, where'd the 9 million go? Like, why you didn't want to keep like a moon bag in there? Or like, I just,
bro, I mean, think about it at the top. That's, you know, that's some serious coin. Like, you can go off and, you know, live a life on that, you know, and maybe have a little bit of something else you can go do and get out of crypto completely. You know, who knows? Everybody has their own reason for doing it. And I always shudder when I hear people talking trash about people who cash out or whatever. It's like, look, you don't know. You really don't know, but you'll sit there and say, oh, look at this idiot and what he did. And it's like, he's probably sitting there laughing at you, calling him an idiot, because he's walking away with the millions of dollars and living his life or her life the way they want to, you know, and maybe they invested that into a business that's doing just fine, and they've got money in the bank and all their bills are paid and they've walked and they don't have to play this game anymore, you know. Now, everybody has a different mindset. For instance, when, you know, in the before Hex launched, you know, I didn't think that, you know, okay, this thing's gonna like, okay, and another couple cycles in crypto, and yeah, maybe I'll make a couple $1 million or something like that. Yeah, that'd be cool. New retirement plan, and I can, you know, retire at 60 instead of, you know, 70, and then it started changing like monthly. Like, wait a minute, I passed that part. I passed this part. And wait a minute, now maybe I can retire at 55, 56. Wait. Now my grandchildren don't have to worry about anything. Wait. Now their grandchildren don't have to worry about anything. Oh, wait, we're 90% down and I'm still sitting in that position. You know, it was like, I didn't expect it to do what it's done. And so my whole perspective on this thing has changed. You know, like I wasn't going to come in and start streaming to make money or do anything. I was just like, hey, let's see if we can pump our bags by bringing smarter people to YouTube so that people can hear them, like you. Like, I was hoping that we would put out enough bait to attract guys like you that were just got it, that were trained by traders and understood the game and could help educate everybody like Richard did. And, you know, here it is. It happened, and all of you guys started coming. Then it's like, okay, wait a second. I'm like, I got a free, clean canvas here. Like, I could paint myself any way I want now. How do I want to fit in this? And then I remembered all of my training, you know, from my entrepreneurial days, all the books I read, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, you know, all of those things, The Speed of Trust, How to Win Friends and Influence, all these things. And they all told you, like, if your why doesn't make you cry, if your dream isn't big enough, you know, to make you want to freaking die, then you ain't doing it right. Get out there and go, you know, dream big. And I was like, well, shit, man, if this thing did this for me, the guy who put his boots on in the dark and took them off in the dark and did it all over and over and over again for years and years and years, then it could do that for all my buddies. And then my heart started opening up and going, man, I could go help the world with this stuff. And so now I had a whole new vision, and I can take this somewhere else. And now that's my goal. That's what I want to do. That's, you know, my vision is, let's fill up stadiums. Let's bring 30% of the world into crypto and get them utilizing DeFi and free people and take 401ks and kick them to the curb and make people invest in hex stakes instead. You know what I mean?
And if we're successful, like, the next bear market bottom is going to be so much higher off these prices that you will have had that effect. I think that's the goal, is like a measure of our success is be how high is the next bear market floor. If you know what I'm saying. Like, yeah, we could talk about $10 hex or, PulseChain to 10 cents or whatever crazy
Well,
number you want to throw out there.
Let's do the hex thing real quick, because
Yeah.
I want to get this out of the way, because everybody always, asking for price predictions and stuff like that. And I'm not going to give a price prediction. I want to talk about why hex can do what we think it can do, because forget price prediction. Just imagine it keep going up, guys. Just imagine it just keeps going up. Just imagine as we bring adoption into the space, it just keeps going up. Why? Because the product has never been seen before like this. The inflation model has never been seen before. The ability to do with hex, the ability to do with your value what you can do with hex has never existed before. And the world would be remiss not to get involved. There are no barriers or doubts in the hex ecosystem, in hex itself. We all know what it's done. It's been running for 4 years. It's not going anywhere. And it's going to be better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a technology. It's not something super special. Just because Satoshi Nakamoto has disappeared doesn't mean that it's some, everybody thinks that it's some, miraculous thing. It's not. It was a mixture.
We're looking at you, Brazology. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, is he in there?
No.
Oh man,
he's not in there. But yeah, I shouldn't say that.
He'll appear now.
Yeah, he'll appear right now.
Somebody send him a DM. But it's just a piece of technology, and it's a piece of like rec tech. I mean,
yeah.
A blockchain is
it's like
really
it's like owning a piece of the Mona Lisa.
There you go.
That's what the contrarian. He'll be in Vegas with us. He coined that term.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Imagine this. Imagine this, RG. 65-year-old guy learned about crypto in 17. Bought his first Bitcoin around 1 to 2K. Was in and out trading it for years and years. But he's also an old commodities guy, so he got rid of his commodities brokerage account of 40 years this last month. Finally got rid of his commodities trading account. Dumped it. 40 years he was doing that, trading shit. He finally capitulated, and he's all in crypto now. He sees it. Well, and this is kind of proof of look how powerful that ETF is on the psychology of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and like I don't know if you saw the Yabs guy we had on the show.
Oh, dude. I was in there. I was like, we need more Yabs.
I mean, Yabs is a guy that, like you said, he's been around crypto, but he's been in the market for so long, and he's sick of, and you could tell Yabs is like the dude is involved in the market. He's a career market guy, and he was just going, crypto's better. Crypto's better. Crypto's better.
I was how bullish is that when you get a guy that's been working in Wall Street since like 91,
yes,
had his own hedge fund since 2001, and literally he's like, his cheeks are rosy red, his ears are perked up with excitement because he's sitting on the stream with RG3 for the first time in his life, and he's just like he's spilling his guts to the world about how appreciative he is of the comments in the chat, but yet we should be saying that to him, because he's the one that's going to bridge the gap between us, the misfits in crypto, and the real world TradFi.
And that's the crossover road. It's when those people start to domino. I mean, look at the dominoes that are falling out. Like, and whether they matter or not to us personally as Hexicans doesn't matter. Like Ben Bitboy, boom, Hexican basically now, right?
Yes.
Our other brother that just came. Oh shoot, Donovan. 85K followers on YouTube, been streaming. He's like, the kid is, he's very calculated, very smart. And then he's like, his story is, I screwed up and I listened to everybody else out there talking shit about Hex. So I just looked over it and just looked at the surface. I saw a pirate. I saw Richard in his Gucci, and I was like, fuck that. It's got to be a scam, like all the guys with suits and ties are saying. And he said, I was wrong to have done that. I made a mistake and I blew it and I lost out because of it, but I'm not going to anymore. So here, guys, this is what this is all about. And now he's speaking like us. It's happening. It's happening. And all over from, TradFi to the crypto space, people are starting to finally hear our message. We've screamed loud enough, long enough that now we're the ones that are speaking, truth to all the power. And it feels fucking good, man, because we got
right on the
shit on
cusp
for so long.
We're right on the cusp of breaking through the noise, and I think all that's left to do is you break the all-time highs on Pulse, and Hex recovers and goes on to do like new all-time highs. And this could happen in 12 months, guys. It could happen like snap of a finger. It could literally happen any day because of the low amount of money it would cost to do it. But it's more about making a strategic, procedural, stair-step approach to making this thing have the most impact, the most weight, and get the most people involved. Because if you just print a freaking 100x green candle in one go, it doesn't really have the same. So many people miss out. You basically make a few people rich, and then they turn into slugs. So it's better to do it like a nice, slow, methodical, year to 2 year long bull market, dude. The longer the better. The longer we stay, pressure cooker, and just like the charts just kind of brew and for at each price level, and then they stair step up, and then they do it again for 3 months, and they do it again for it's just, it creates an experience for everybody. We all get to be on this train ride versus because like I said, it really isn't that much of an ask for one guy to come in and pump it 100x, but isn't it way more fun if everybody else gets involved too? That's the goal. It's a mission, man. It's not just about the mad gains. It is and it isn't, right? That's the catch-22.
Yeah, well, look what Bitcoin did. And we've got what 2-3% of the world involved in crypto, and Bitcoin only has what 60-something% dominance or something like that, 70%, 60.
No, dude, Bitcoin dominance right now is under 50%.
Is it under?
Oh, dude, it's been for a while. Let's see here. Let's pull some charts up. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, man. Like Bitcoin's
let's put that in perspective.
Fast. Yeah, okay.
So let's put that in perspective.
I'm wrong. I was wrong. It's back up. It's up to 53 because it's been moving.
I thought it was close to 60, but I was wrong too. But but that's still like, okay, so 1.5% of the world is in Bitcoin. 1.5% of the world is in Bitcoin. And it went 6 million X. 6 million X. An inferior product that is technology that's been around for 10 years with only, a 2% market share in the globe. What happens when we do pump this space, when the barrier to entry gets easier and people start to discover DeFi and what that means in the crypto space versus Bitcoin? We're talking, let's lowball. Let's call it 10%. Let's say we finally get to 10%. And DeFi still only gets half of that. Okay. So now we're talking there's 7% out there. So 3.5% more. Start doing the numbers on what Hex can pull from that and what Hex has pulled from the DeFi space already. And that's the type of numbers you can see right away. You can start seeing that happening really, really quickly as soon as we start to bring more people into the crypto space.
Well, and that's like that's partly our job, and you need people from every angle. You need developers to develop the tools. You need marketing guys, you need sales guys, and it's all going to happen because everybody's got skin in the game. So everyone's going to fill a role. And I did this chart the other day. You can see here, it's like Bitcoin in orange, and I just said cycle 1, cycle 2, yada, yada. And then I had the EHEX price, the combined hex price here in pink. And then with Bitcoin's fractal on it, this is just, if we just repeat what Bitcoin's already done, Bitcoin got maybe, what is it? Do you think that there's 100 million holders of Bitcoin by now? Or do you think probably less?
Less.
I don't know.
I'd say less, but
a lot of guguys that me that used to hold it don't hold it anymore because there's other better options. Like there's a lot of that going on too.
Well, even the Bitcoin, the old Bitcoin bags are realizing that because they're all OTC trading their Bitcoin over to the monsters right now, and I'll bet you anything, they're not completely leaving the space. They're going to start buying altcoins as they empty these bags of Bitcoin, old bags of Bitcoin, out on the market to the institutions. because
Could be some
we're
of
seeing
that. You got to wonder like what percentage of old Bitcoin money and Ethereum OG money even cares. Like, do they just like sell and walk and don't even come back in? And even if they do, is that bullish or bearish? Ultimately, to me, it doesn't matter one way or the other. It's just more distribution of crypto, more adoption, more users, more activity, just more of everything. Bringing down the gates, better tools, so it's easier. There's not so many barriers to entry. Like all that stuff's gonna like compound. It's the same. We're basically in 1996 right now on the internet. It's like it's all over again, man. We're earlier than most people because we found a DeFi system before DeFi was even an idea. You know, that's how far ahead.
We helped bring it to fruition. You know,
Yep.
the Hexicans and those of us investing early were the ones who put Uniswap on the map. We're the one that brought DeFi to people. I mean, there's no denying that. That's what we did. DeFi wasn't here until Hex and Uniswap and PulseChain came out.
You know what? One thing I think that the community, like not the community, but just like the whole world doesn't understand about Hex yet, is that it's actually special compared to every other cryptocurrency. I don't think people understand that. They just, especially because the price is down so bad, like they can't see yet why it's so valuable. And like when I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart in orange here, the reason why the Bitcoin chart did that was because it paid mining rewards. And so it had a carrot to chase. And if you could print money legally with Bitcoin, like it was like the carrot on the stick. And Hex has that same property, but
it does.
It encapsulates time though. So there's like this magical element where when you go to it, and it's this compound element of when you go to buy Hex, you're buying a cryptocurrency miner and a cryptocurrency at the same time. But with Bitcoin, you have to either choose: am I going to buy mining equipment in a facility, or am I going to buy the coins? But Hex lets you buy both at the same time.
Yeah, and how long did it take the crypto space to realize that? Or you had people mining and this and that and the other. How long
I was mining here.
They started really mining. You know what I mean?
I was that guy. I started in mining. So like I can tell you for a fact that if I had a choice between buying computer equipment and getting a mortgage and setting up a facility, or buying Nvidia stock, who was producing the chips, or buying Ethereum just outright, I would have been better off buying Nvidia stock or Ethereum outright. So like that's something that the contrarian, he'll be in Vegas with us, he'll talk about is we were having this conversation back in here in 2017 around this price. We were on Bitcoin here. We were around, let me get the Bitcoin. This is the total.
Like I remember 16, well, like end of 15, into 16, going into 17. That's when all the mining talk was like wild. Like
right
people
here
were starting to set up big mining operations, and I had buddies that were doing mining, and then the cloud mining came in 17, and that's when everything started taking a shit. Was right there.
This is when all that Gigawatt, the biggest miner, failed, or they went down during this period here. They went bankrupt. But anyways, let's get back to that story. Is during this period here, Bitcoin was sitting around $1,200, $1,500. You know, the contrarian sitting there telling me, well, why wouldn't you just trade? The volatility is crazy. You could just trade the coins. And I'm like, no, you can legally print money, Bob. You could legally print money. You got to buy this equipment and blah, blah, blah. And it became this wild goose chase of buying the equipment, or in his case, trading. And guess how much Bitcoin Bob held from here to here? Almost none. He just he traded it. He traded it, man. You know, he bought the lows, but he sold the highs. He bought the lows, but he sold. But net result, you factor taxes and everything. It's like, well, you would have just been better off holding that position for a little bit longer. So that's why I like to talk about 2 and 3 cycles ahead. And you know, the guys that got into Hex pre-big payday, they have a huge head start. But that doesn't mean that there's not still opportunity for everyone else. And that's why I wanted to bring up this chart here. And you know, hopefully, you know, you'll give me the time to kind of break it down. It's because it's powerful, man. And so
go ahead, because $1 means nothing when you're on the way to 100.
100%. And you know, I don't know how many people get that or don't get that. Let's see. Let me. So on the left side, you can see the tombstones. This is the PulseChain here. PulseChain ROI. Let me get a better color. This is the PulseChain ROI on a. How long of it is that of a stake? Okay, that's a 15-year stake, and I know that's a big ask for a lot of people to like stake for 15 years, but just for sake of
Let's
argument,
show the value in it. Because
just for sake of argument, and then this is an Ethereum stake here. So, and what I did was I just said 1 million hex staked max length. E hex goes to 5 cents. P hex goes to 10 cents. That's it. Pretty conservative numbers.
very.
The most conservative estimates saying that you're going to make 443% ROI on the Ethereum and 441%, so slightly less on the PulseChain. That's because there's more mining activity happening on PulseChain. But the net result here is if you put away 1 million hex for 15 years, you're getting 4.4 million in rewards conservatively. Now, if I switch this to a more aggressive curve, which these are different payout models that's trying to predict staking behavior. I would say this is like a middle of the road, slightly on the conservative side estimate. All these numbers change drastically. All of a sudden now you're making 680% ROI compounded. 680%. Do you know how hard it is to 7.8x your crypto stack? You basically have to buy the bottom, sell the top, and buy the next cycle low to 10x your crypto stack. Like you have to do really damn good. And so this is saying you automatically
lucky.
There's some element of luck there, yes. I would say that you do because you have to make 3 good perfect plays in a row. You have to buy the market cycle low, sell the market cycle high, and buy back the next market cycle low. So you do have to get, to nail all 3 versus this where you can just stake for a max length and get 7.8x more coins. That's pretty powerful. Yeah. And then there's always the RG3 strategy where you get to year 10 and you're like, this is worth $50 million. I'm just going to EES and I don't care if I lose 30 mil because I still made 20 mil. Like, okay, good. That's how the system's designed. Use it. Use it that way. And this is why there's so much meat on the bone, man. It's like people don't see these kind of possibilities.
And I don't think Hex really gets its legs until after the first 15-year cycle. Like the first 15-year cycle, like you just explained, there's going to be from year 7 to year 15, you're going to see monster EESs, monster bags get liquidated, high volatility. So the first 15 years of Hex is going to be just a calming of the ecosystem, or a very violent thrashing of the death of some of these bags and stuff. And people hear me say these things, guys. That's not my strategy. My strategy is a long hold with lots and lots of bags, long holding, and lots of bags that can come out and provide value short term. And so I made sure I used every single angle possible when it came to staking, because there's different strategies that you can use. And if you were an early adopter and you got in early, why get in and take a bunch out and walk? That never crossed my mind. And I see a lot of these sharks and whales and high dolphins doing that. But that was never my strategy. What I wanted to do, I wanted to keep compounding it, keep growing it, put myself in a position where I don't have to worry and I can keep doing what I'm doing. But as far as people using this first 15 years as like a measure, you're very, very mistaken. Hex is easy, going to do multiple X's, tens of thousands of X's in this first 15-year cycle. And then this next one is when everything starts stabilizing and it goes to prices that you cannot imagine. Like Richard has always said, you guys don't even have a clue or understanding how high Hex can go. And why? Why is staking so important? Why is that the tool? Why is the T-share and We talked about all this stuff ad nauseum, and we know it. But a lot of new people don't, and we can see by the staking behavior that a lot of these people don't know it. I mean, that line is not out of the question that you just draw. That's not a random line. That is like where these things are going, where they go in the future. You know, I got a lot of shit for. I did a very simple video when I was live on stage talking in the early days, and I said, you know, Hex went from here to here. Then it went from here to here, and from here to here, and then we're going to go from here to here, and that's exactly what it's doing, though. It's doing that, just like all markets do. Just like if you talk to your mentor, he'll tell you, yeah, if you would have bought in the beginning of the first market cycles back in the, you know, turns of the century, and you held until now, instead of worrying about any trading, you'd be sitting in some crazy spot right now. You'd be at you went up and to the right, period, end of story. You know, and that's what all markets do.
So obviously we're not talking to anybody here that probably doesn't know this, but if you haven't ever heard before, like, you know, having like a staking ladder is super powerful because it actually is going to pay you to hold during that period. You know, it doesn't seem like much, but as I just gave in that first example, is like, imagine you got out to 15 years here at this yellow line, and the price didn't, let's say the price just only went to like $20 or something. Like, so let's say down here to $20. So that, you know, I don't know, what would that look like? Let's just do like something like this. Let's say this is our bull market, bear market, bull market, you know, bear market. And you're basically at the next bear market, you're sitting here around 20 to $30 or something. Like, you know, this is the period. This is what RG is talking about. Let me clarify. When you say that this is going to be volatile, you mean in both directions. Like, it's going to be crazy. Yeah. Like, you'll probably see multi-dollar targets on Hex way before the 15 years. Yep. And so just that we needed that to be clear, because like, if I told you how high Hex could go in the next 2 years, most people are like laughing at me, because they're like, what do you mean? It's simple, because this is how the math breaks down with Metcalfe's law. So every time that you double the users, you 4x the value of the network. So if you do a 2x, you get 4x the price move. If you do a 4x, 4 times 4 is 16, you 16x the price of the network. And so I've been doing some math on like, well, what happens if you did get 1 million users, or what happens if you do get 10 million users? If you get 10 million users, you 16,000x the price. 10 million stakers means that we're going to be worth more than $160 per token. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't seem like that crazy, because there's really only 130,000 stakers.
Whenever people bring up Metcalfe's law, everybody kind of rolls their eyes, like, oh yeah, I know, the penny doubled for a day, blah, blah, blah. But there are so many, especially in markets, there are so many charts that you can just look at. I mean, from, you know, selling corn and beef to selling Forex, you know, markets, whatever. Metcalfe's law is taken into effect whenever you see those things moving up and to the right. It's a provable metric, and it's happening here in this space at breakneck speeds. It really is happening here. Just look at Bitcorn. I mean, it has done 6 million X. Why? Not because it's good tech, because it was a great concept and people want in this thing. And now there's better products. Now there's only a couple of years behind some of these better products. Bitcoin's had 12 years, right? Is it 12 years now? 13 years? It's had a lot of time to do what it's done. These other things are going to be even more exciting and better and bring more use case to the world. And once people catch on to it, and once the barrier for entry starts to get easier, you're going to see those numbers. Right now, it's the wild, wild west. We've complicated things more than we've simplified them. We've built better tools for sure when you have something like Hex, but it has become more complicated to get in, you know, and that's I think where crypto has kind of shot itself in the foot, is that we've had too many tech geeks in here making things, and they've used the technologies available to them, and they've made things a little too difficult. And they don't have a grasp on what people really understand as financial products. Like, people know how to go use a ledger, but when you call Etherscan a ledger, you're full of shit, because it's not. It doesn't show people what's really going on. It's too in depth and weird and funky and confusing and scary and intimidating and all that kind of stuff.
That's kind of an interesting like conversation from the angle of like, well, how many responsible adults are actually looking after their finances as it is anyways. Most of them just want to be leaving it with a financial advisor or planner and then not think about it. And it just grows while they go about their life and their daily, whatever they got going on, and then they'll complain about being broke. And so like the way I look at that is I do come from an angle of compassion of like, look, it's kind of on us to like say, hey guys, there is a better way. And there are going to be the few people at the beginning that are going to listen at the bottom of a bear. But the more effective we are at the bottom of a bear market, the more effective the larger the reach will be, and the more amplified the signal will be at the top of the bull. And it's really, if something doesn't get adopted, it's on the current holder base. It's not on the world. It's not the world's fault people don't. It's our fault because we didn't do a good enough job explaining, hey, look over here. There's this other thing that's worth you taking time out of your daily life to figure it out, because it's actually going to get you out of this hellhole situation that we all find ourselves in a lot of cases. Now, I'm not a doomer or anything, but I just think people are very quick to let somebody else take control of their finances, which is literally your lifeblood. And I think it's a call to action of responsibility. Like, look, if you got to guilt somebody into it, even like, look, you're not being a responsible person in the tech age here. If you want to go live like that, go move to Costa Rica and freaking get off the grid. If you want to, because you're not going to make it here in this new world. You need to be in crypto, and you need to get with the program, or you're going to get left behind. And it's on us to send that message. That's why we're going to be in Vegas trying to talk to people. The problem is most of the people that show up are already in and they get it. So you got to bring new people so that they can at least start to get the gears turning a little bit. Because otherwise they're going to miss out on Hex going to freaking $4 a cycle. And at that point, what have you accomplished? Great. You made all of us 130,000 stakers rich, even richer than before, but you still got 8 billion people that now have to buy Hex at the next low at like 50 cents. It's like, okay, so you're just making it harder on them longer term because they're going to miss the move. But then again, too, we're going to need the move. Otherwise, you're not going to get their attention. So it's this tug of war. And you can see how complicated it is to launch a successful cryptocurrency and get enough people on board early enough to have the maximum amount of impact. So we're playing like 5, 6, 7D chess over here with all the brains that's involved in this space, and we just need to do what we can do, right? And I think our measure of success will be how many people do you get in at the bottom of the next bear that are still here, staked and hanging on for that next cycle.
Yeah, I made a big push just recently. So I knew that exactly what you're saying needed action. So when it came time for the bear market, I was ready. Okay, so do I shut the channel down? And I talked with a lot of people, and people like Kool-Aid were like, oh hell no, you go harder, bro, you go harder. And I was like, man, I'm tired. I'm freaking beat up from all sides again. I got to go do this again. And then, I realized that if, that little voice in my head, when I put my head on my pillow at night, was like, if you don't do it, who is? If you don't do it, who is? If you don't do it, who is? And I said, you know what? I got to do it. So all last year for the bear market, I hit the road and I went and talked to whoever would listen. And sometimes there was 20 people in the room, and sometimes there was 50 people in the room. And, sometimes it broke even and paid for itself, and sometimes I had to pay for it. And it didn't matter. And then as the bear market sat in and it got deep, it got as deep as we knew it was going to get. I was like, no, this is it, man. This is it. It's turning around. That's when I made my push, and I called all my friends and family and people that had talked to me about crypto in the past, and then just disappeared on me. Like, you know, cause you know what happens. They talk to you during the bull run, and they got to get in, cause they see all the excitement. And then they hem and haw, and then it's like, okay, the bear market's here now. Well, that stuff went down to what? It's a penny now. Oh man, are you okay? Are you going to be all right?
Oh yeah. The concern trolling. Yeah. I love it.
Do you need a job, bro? I can like put my feelers out for you.
No shade on those of us that, you know, did quit our jobs and had to go back and do something with our life. But I mean, that was kind of, you know, we got to take some responsibility here, right?
I that's one thing I'd like to reiterate to everybody, you know, is that you make damn good and sure well that when you quit your job, you're secure. You know, I was ready to quit my job. Like I put 3 years of stakes out there, didn't touch anything, and set up an income ladder, said, hey, if I can retire here, I will. And then even when I hit that 3 years and started, you know, collecting that staking ladder that I created for an income staking ladder that would replace my income. And of course, at that point, it had turned into, you know, 4 or 5 times my income. And so I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay with my job, and I'm going to have a conversation with my boss. And I did. And I sat down with him and I said, hey, look, you know, you hired me. I appreciate you more than anything. This is the pinnacle of my career. You know, the guy that was working, now you've got me heading the whole division and setting it up in 3 different locations across the whole state. And I said, I'm going to have to go though. I've got something else I have to do. And then I told him about it, and like his freaking jaw dropped down, you know, and it's like, are you kidding me? That crypto thing, you know? And then I said, well, I'm going to give you a year. You know, when I could retire, I still gave my job another year, and told him, you know, on top of that, I'm not going to leave right off. You know, I'm not going to give you a date. If we're good and that year comes up, I'll go. If not, then, you know, we'll get things squared away. But I had certain metrics that I wanted to meet. And, you know, I said, hey, if we hit these metrics, then, you know, at this date, I'm going to be ready to move on. And we hit them all. And I hired my replacement, and I was able to walk away. I mean, that's the kind of, you know, attention to leaving your job or leaving the workforce that you need to take, and you're in crypto. And then I knew it was going to dip. I knew it was going to drop, and I didn't know it was going to go 98% for this long. But, you know, we were able to shore everything up and, you know, take care of all of our obligations with the highest of stakes movies, and pay all the lawyers for all of our businesses, and keep our crypto businesses up and running, and do a world tour, and pay the bills, and keep, you know, mama and everybody happy here at home. So you can't just willy-nilly say, I'm going to go quit my job and, you know, do crypto 100%, because first of all, YouTube don't pay you shit, especially if you're in the DeFi space and you're an organic community member. Like if you've got a handler that wants to shill you around and give you money for talking about ridiculous bull crap stuff, then maybe you can make a little scratch like some of those guys did. But there's a handful of them that have made money off of it. And those of us here in Hex, the Hexicans that have streamed, we all know it's a thankless job. And we all know that there's no money in it. There is no money in this. So it's going to cost you to be a YouTube streamer. So be very careful, everybody out there, about quitting your job, especially in the first cycle. If you haven't set yourself up with income ladders that are maturing, you know, in the next bull market. And especially if you're of an age that you shouldn't even be close to thinking about retirement, you know, because this crypto space is not a place to find gainful employment unless you are a really good dev and you get into really good projects with really good people. Because let's face it also, that there is a vetting process here in crypto that, I've been around, guys. I've had businesses. I've had partners that have screwed me over. I've had partners that have done well for me. Have businesses succeed and fail. If you don't know what you're doing, you're getting into this space. I'm going to warn you right now. There is a lot of crap to have to deal with. Look, most businesses don't make it past 5 years. Most traditional businesses, period. End of story. Like 90% of them don't make it past 5 years. In the crypto space, I'll bet you it's like 99.99999 that don't make it in this space, especially with the people that are out there, the quality of leadership, the quality of professionalism, all that stuff out there. It's very hard. Usually what you're doing, if you're trying to get a job in this space or you're trying to build a business in this space, is you're rolling the damn dice. You really are. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a couple times in there when you start to do, when you're in crypto where like there's like, and with that, actually, you know what, with any company that you start where there's times when it could actually fail and you just have to persevere and try to make up for it. Like this, you know, patch up the sinking ship as it's happening, you know, because otherwise no one else is going to do it for you. You know, it's tough starting a company or a business. And, but man, is it rewarding when you get that first sign of success. So I would wish that for everybody in our community to each be able to make a business around the PulseChain and Hex ecosystem. And this, if there's one to do it in, it's this one, because this is where all the passive income is. That you can actually use it to help fund your ideas and this is the whole point, is like, you know, if you onboard enough people are buying into the system because there's value here, and it creates a loop of value and creates passive income for more and more folks. And it just goes over everyone's head like, oh, the whole value extractor mindset. It's not, I get it if one guy's dumping for $150 million, but when the whole community is buying and selling, like that's what value creation is. And so that you shouldn't look down on that. You should look on capitalizing on the swings in the market, especially during a bull market, and and if you have a dream, you know, leverage crypto to do it, you know, like, you know, ride up your first 5 or 10x and then take some off and then try to start something that's going to bring more value to the system. You don't just want to be like a net extractor, but you don't also just want to be a net buyer. Just find a way to make a value loop inside of these, because PulseChain is the place to do it, man. Like
it is 100%.
My whole talk in Vegas is going to be about passive income on PulseChain. And there's so many strategies. Like you could make it a full-time job just harnessing the yield mechanisms of ink, pulse validating, and hex staking. Those 3 methods. Like if you're using those 3 methods during the bull run, like, wow, you could make 3 years salaries and you could start with nothing. I mean, there is a certain amount of strategy that goes into it. So if you want to know more about that, come, and I think we're all booked, aren't we, for the conference, but you can watch it online. Yeah.
Because I'm going to get hammered for not talking about it yet. Yeah. So Axis and I are going to do a duet on the at the karaoke event. So you're going to want to get there for that, right, God. Axis?
Throwing me in there.
I was going to do it here. I was going to see if me and you could do like a Neil Diamond song or something live on stream for everybody to show them at least what they're going to get a piece of. So, hey, I'm telling you right now, that event right there is going to be a lot of fun, is the karaoke event. So if you're not there and you don't have tickets to the karaoke event, get tickets to the karaoke event. There's still 15 tickets left there, seminar tickets. So if you're going, get yourself some of the karaoke tickets, because, hey, Hexicans cut up. When they get loose, they get loose. And it is a hell of a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of fun. So I think karaoke night is actually, you know, the club night is going to be cool and everybody's going to be all, you know, on their game face is going to be on. But karaoke night is like, that's going to be drunken stupor, crazy Hexican fun time. And I think that if you want to go have some fun with us, that's where you're going to want to do it. But back to what you were talking about, I wanted to add to the community thing. And you know, I already lectured everybody on don't quit your day job type of thing. But the projects that you just named, the 3 solids, like I set myself up in the bear market. As soon as PulseChain came out, I called David Fetter. I said, bro, I got to be part of the system. You get me my shit over here now, and you show me how to set it up. And boom, boom, boom. He sent me my equipment. I set it up. I'm validating like, crazy. And the validator like paid for itself. Then it started making new, and now it makes new validators all the time. Stacking validators, stacking money printers, stacking them, just like staking ladders, stack money printers, stack money printers. And then if you have big bags and you want to even help the system more and be a little more risky with your investment, you can go and LP provide. And you don't even have to be that risky with that. I'm learning now how to set my LPs where I want them to be, where I want them to work. And I've learned how to use them to enter and exit the system properly. So the tools that are available to us and the things that we have now way outshine Bitcoin. And see, guys, so you're so early, like Axis is talking about a system within the system that you can print hex, pulse, ink token just at will. Just by being a holder of those tokens, you could just print them. So that's like one step or a level ahead of everybody that doesn't even understand hex and the staking mechanism, which is the first thing that's going to be revealed to the world when they finally figure out what it is. Because like only 3% of the world knows what Bitcoin really does.
Yeah.
Like, yes, just about everybody out there has heard of Bitcoin, but do they know what Bitcoin really does? Most of them don't. Only 3% of the world is here holding the asset. So they're the ones that know that you can send and receive an electronic transfer back and forth over the internet without an intermediary between two people, peer to peer.
Yeah.
There's only 2 or 3% of the world that know that. Yeah. And we look at that concept and go,
a dinosaur.
What? Even RG knows that, And so the rest of the world has no clue of what a T-share is and what hex is and what it does and how it operates, let alone the infinite money printing objects that are systems that we all have here that you're talking about. So we're so early. There's so much to be capitalized on here. It's and the other thing is on top of all of that, we have amazing community members. Now, not all of them are doing the right thing. Not all of them are making products that work properly yet. Not all of them are scammers either. They're building products on top of the system that Richard made, and they're doing things that the world has never seen that are making this ecosystem even better. For instance, I know there's a lot of project out there, and I don't usually talk about him, but Hedron proved a concept about T-shares. Like they proved that you can wrap a T-share and now you can transfer it around amongst people. And that gave it utility. It was a utility for the Hex ecosystem. And so who knows what's going to come out? Who knows what new token's going to come out or what type of adoption that token's going to bring? So I beg to ask the community to stop with the toxicity and let these people prove or disprove themselves. Know that your onboards don't need to know about these things. I don't tell my onboards about any of this stuff that's going on out here. I don't tell my onboards about, validating or liquidity providing. I bring them in and teach them about Hex and what crypto is. And then I teach them about staking and how important that is to them. And then I leave everything else up to interpretation. And then I say, if you ever have any questions, if you ever need to know about any of this crazy stuff that's going on out there, please ask me. Don't try dabbling in it. Don't try doing it. And that's what my onboards get. And whenever they get wise enough or smart enough, or they start inquiring enough, I will start showing them some of these other things. Like I have a friend that's getting ready to validate. He sacrificed. He has a big bag. And he's like, well, hey, what do you, and I've talked about my validators. And he's like, well, my pulse is just sitting there and I'm not going to spend it for years or anything. And I'd like to do that too. So, okay, well, let's set you up. Let's show you how to validate, and you're part of the system, and you're almost, it's almost like a hex stake, or you're almost like a Bitcoin miner, and you're participating, and you're helping shore up and distribute the system, the ledger even more. So that's how I approach it. But I beg the community to allow the innovators to innovate. because you have a voice that's important in the community. Some of you out there that have platforms or YouTube streams or followings on Twitter within this community, what you say holds weight. And, whatever your emotion of the day is, or whatever it is, and why you're going to go poke a stick in somebody's eye, or whatever is making you angry that person is going out and trying to do something, you might want to use some discernment. And instead of going out there and poking a stick in that eye, find out who that person is, find out what it is that they're doing, find out what that protocol really does. Because that's the other thing I'm seeing people going, oh no, man, that stuff's bullshit. That guy's a freaking scammer. But that's the same thing they did to Richard Hart. And instead of allowing or learning about what that person is doing, because then I've heard people just falsely accuse other people building protocols. They did it to Alex when he first came out with Hedron. I saw them blasting on him, and that's different. That's different. He didn't do that. And so I just asked the community, let people do their thing. And, you don't have to invest in them. You don't have to get your people involved in them.
The best stuff's going to stand on its own.
Watch and see what they do. And the best stuff will stand on its own. And all the scammers and all the people that have put out bullshit end up going away. They end up disappearing. They're not in my wallet. I don't have those things in my wallet. But the good products that do come out and bring utility or bring adoption or whatever, or even the NFTs and all that stuff, they're all working hard on trying to make the space, getting people to look at it, and that's, anyway.
Yeah. So like on the topic of, I agree with you on the sentiment. Okay, you got beef with other projects, stick to the core RH stuff. That's where all the meat on the bone is anyways. And then once you've leveled up and you can have like self-control and discernment, then go look into other places. I find that the RH stuff still is home and it's the best stuff anyways, most times. But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you need to have such a polarizing opinion of what everyone's doing. Cause like my opinions on things are always changing. Like that's just a quality of a smart person. Like you're going to be able to update your worldview as the tech evolves. I'm firm in that the hex staking mechanism really is special, and it's gonna overperform everything else. And you look at this chart here, and you could see right here in this chart, this is the T-share. Look, when's the last time you looked at this, RG? T-share price in dollars. Yeah. This is Oof. Back in the big payday down here. We're way up here in T-share price in dollar terms. We're way up here. When you look at the dollar chart, you look at the price chart. Look at we're down here. Here's that same. We're at the lows in the unit price of hex, but in the T-share we're up here. We're not down here anymore. That's because the T-share price went up in hex terms.
Mm-hmm. So much
it's priced
that it's
up.
Broken through the price barrier.
You've created a permanent price floor for T-shares, where it's never going back below here. But in dollar terms, we're down here in the unit. So it's because it costs more hex per T-share. People have forgotten how this system's still going. It's still churning, and T-shares are getting more expensive every day, and it's pricing out everyone that it doesn't get it. And then when you get these new innovations like communists, I don't know how much you've dug into that yet. But that thing is literally going to pay people to stake for 15 years. It's going to pay them.
I know. I went in there. I'm like, okay, what's that number? How much COM do I get? And it's like, holy moly. And then I started reading what it was. I'm like, hey, free tokens are free tokens. You never turn those down. Richard taught us that. You don't ever turn down free tokens. There's too much free stuff out here. Go get it.
So like the thing that you might actually find pretty cool with this is when you break down how much you can get back from a 15-year stake, it goes up based on the ratio of COM to hex. So like if this price chart continues to climb up against hex, COM keeps going up, you're getting more and more redemption value from the COM bonus. So It's not because you're getting more COM. It's because the COM dollar price is going up relative to hex. So like right now, if you go stake 15 grand a hex for 15 years, you get $2,100 back in COM that you could go use it to buy more hex. But what happens when that number gets up to 50%? And now all of a sudden, if you put 15 grand away for 15 years, you get $7,500 back. That's pretty powerful. This is called automatic marketing. And with the right amount of people behind it, this COM price is going to continue to rise because it's becoming scarce, because it's tokenizing the T-share. And without going too deep, there's only like 120 quadrillion, and we call them a quad, and like 60 quadrillion. So 60 quads, it's just half of the supply is already held by the top 30 wallets. What happens when those top 30 wallets get the other 60 quads? Price only goes up. So we can basically set this coupon rate high enough where, you know, if you could get half back or like 75%, or imagine you get to put a 15-year stake in and you get all the money back in COM. And then you can go dump it, or you could do whatever you want with it. Like
it's set up another
it's a free 15-year stake. Right. So the thought is, if this thing can get high enough in price net relative to hex, it's going to get arbitrage back down, right? Because people are going to get their COM bonuses and they're going to dump it for more hex, or they're going to dump it for dollars, whatever they're going to do with it. But there's going to be less and less COM because it's going up with the T-share rate, and more hex is going to get burnt away. So there's going to be less hex. Hex is going to get so fucking scarce. Because people are going to keep looping that COM value, and that they're going to get the hex, they're going to stake it for 15, they're going to get the COM back, they're going to dump it for hex, they're going to stake it, they're going to get the COM back, they're going to dump it for hex, they're going to stake it. And you can basically, what's going to happen is, if we can get this thing above 75% as a community, so much hex can get burnt away into the future, and so many people can get that value back now.
And here's where that crazy hex price comes in, guys. Is that there are tools out there that are being built that are either burning, locking, or making hex become even more rare, on top of the fact that there's only a small percentage of circulating supply hex that's left out there. Like, there is more circulating supply hex than really should be. I think that is like, you know, there's the undersold, underbought, or overbought, undersold narrative. There should be the understaked narrative, because hex is highly understaked right now.
Yep.
Highly understaked.
It's all here.
Once it gets to a proportion that is kind of a little more reasonable, say, you know, 15, I don't even think you can go that high, to be honest. I don't think that you can get a 15% staking percentage because of the OA.
Correct. Because there's only 20 billion hex liquid user supply. We've calculated it.
So what does that end up being percentage wise?
If you staked all of the liquid user supply, it's like less than 20%. Than 20%. Because this is how the math breaks down. So there's like, I think there's like 650 billion. And so 20, what is 20 divided by 650? It's saying that there's only 3% of the supply left, user supply. So then what are you going to do with it? Stake it all with this COM thing, with Hedron and Acoso, with
whatever
the Hex 1 protocol that's coming? Like, have you heard about that one yet?
Yeah.
Here, let me talk about this first, which is that we're really front loaded on staking. So because everyone's got PTSD and they got to pay their bills and shit, and we don't have enough new adoption, basically everybody's front loaded on the staking. Like, these are all the stakes coming off this year. So everyone's kind of rolling their shit, waiting for the next 10x, rolling their shit, waiting for the next 10x, you know, something like that. Here's 2030. But other than that, like, you know, most of the people staking are staking less than a year. So what does that do? It pushes that T-share rate up, which gets it farther and farther away. That's what you see in the back here. This like red, this dark red maroon line. This is the T-share rate changing over time. So what me and some of the quad fathers are talking about, the COM guys, like, we're thinking of like, well, what happens if all of this gets backloaded and you start seeing like big spikes of 15-year stakes, and they're just getting the COM value.
Well, that's what you're gonna see.
Yes.
There's going to come a point where hex is going to become so rare And the only value proposition in Hex is going to be the 15-year stake, because there's going to be so many products built around that and dripping stuff to people. And those are going to be the people that own the Hex. And one of the guys in the chat, Dixon, I've been watching your stuff. You got some good stuff. But bro, we are the circulating supply is what BankX owns. That is part of the circulating supply that it's already factored in. There is no dumping of that. What we're talking about
the nice thing is
circulating supply outside of the OA.
They only have 600. So this is their stack here.
Yeah.
It's sitting right here for sale. So this is 1.2 cents here. And this is 3 cents. So they got 14 million bucks here. You're going to tell me that $14 million stands between Hex being successful or not when you got an OA with $650 million in stables? Like,
yeah, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he was just saying they're going to dump. But what I'm trying to get at, Dixon, is that there is a point where all of the Hex could be staked, that is circulating, and it still wouldn't bring the payout down enough to make Hex unattractive. Like, even if you had 20% of the Hex staked, you're still looking at an ROI of about 20 to 27%, somewhere around there. So on top of, and there is no other asset in the world that's going to give you an automatic 20 to 27%. Once that's realized by institutions, like the institutions are right now into the ETF trying to get Bitcoin on their books, right? A thing that you could send back and forth. Bro, really, this is why they're getting in Bitcoin, so that they can get that digit that goes back and forth. They're putting billions of dollars into a digit that goes back and forth. They don't realize what's out here yet. They don't realize what exists for them. Once those bags understand that there is a yield generating tool that's immutable, that can run 20 to 27% profits for their clients, when they're out there trying to eke 2 and 3% in the stock market, like, I can't wait to talk to your bro. But that's what those people are out there spitting out a spleen and ready to blow their brains out because they can't get 2 to 3% a day, at a time for their clients. And we've got a tool that will automatically, immutably guarantee a 20 to 27% return. On top of that, getting extra fees from people emergency end staking. I mean, the numbers can go astronomically freaking crazy to the moon. Hex is so much better than Bitcoin. It's almost embarrassing to have to go out and say in my PulseChain tour that better than Bitcoin. It's almost embarrassing to have to say that to the crypto community, the smart crypto community. I was listening to a Spaces this morning on my way to the gym. And I like to pop into the one where there's 200, 300 people, Rand's in there, all Coin Daily will be in there, those kind of guys, right? And they bring these people in that have this astute language, right? They sound so important. And there's 300 plebs listening to them, hanging on every smart word that they put out there. And I'm just listening to it going, they don't get it. They don't understand. They sound intelligent, but they're strong and wrong. They're leading the masses in crypto over the cliff. They're trying to speak about all these things that are, it's so pathetic to hear their freaking vocal gymnastics that they put on out there. And of
word
course,
salad.
Word salad. And I don't speak like those guys. I'm from the streets. I don't have a vocabulary. I have ADHD. I have memory loss. I forget most of the words. I don't know my kids' names or their birthdays half the time. I mean, that's the kind of guy I am. But this guy has blown them all away. Like, if I had their money, I'd jump out of a fucking building. They don't understand what we got our hands on here. I can see this and look at it, and then I could ask guys like Axis, hey, Axis, bro, dude, I'm looking at this thing and I'm seeing, can it really do this? Can you tell me? And Axis explains all the math and the metrics and everything out to me. And I'm like, fuck, I'm right, man. I am. Richard's right. This is all right. And all right, okay, let me go tell people about it. And boy, man, if you don't have that freaking language and that suit and tie on, and they just don't want to listen. And
Well, it's kind of like,
it's insane.
it reminds me of Gordon Gekko. Like the guys that can talk the best and have the nicest stuff, it's all smoke and mirrors, man.
It is. It's smoke and mirrors.
Like who do you think, if there's all this, you know, bad in the world and people are taking advantage of people, who's doing it? It's the guys that have this, you know, the silver tongue. It's not the guys that are like me and you that are actually trying to help people understand the technology behind the system that's going to overthrow that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, you just need to look at what came before. So look at computer networks, figure out the laws that are in play, Metcalfe's law, Reed's law. Look at what price performance we've already got out of this stuff, like the hex and pulse stuff, hex stuff, previous cycle, and just extrapolate out. Well, if we could do that with 60,000 stakers, what could we do with 1 million? What could we do with 10 million? You know, and so every time you get compounded effects, so what I'm trying to do while you're talking here is I'm trying to come up with the math so we can like look at.
Okay, you do that because this will be the perfect time for me to get my ass out of trouble, because like I just got a message saying if that's what RG is going to do to promote the Vegas trip, he's getting his ass chewed. They're like, you're going to Vegas with Axis. You better tell everybody what's going on out there. So
Yeah.
So guys, if you don't know, I've been running a little thing for this last year called the PulseChain Tour. I go out city to city, state to state, and I do it on my dime and my time. I fly out there. I have a crew, a wild SJ, whom all of you know as the SciVive darling of Hexico. And I have Black Hexagon, like the baddest ass manager on the planet. Don't fuck with her. And gets shit done. Like she handles business like nobody else. So I have to live in fear of her because she runs the show. Basically, I have the last say so when it comes down to it, but I lean more towards listening to her than anything else. But we are going to be in Vegas as the tour is going on this year. We just did one here in Orange County. We're going to go to Europe this year, so it's a world tour, not just a state-to-state tour in the U.S. But this one is a big one. Vegas is easy for people to get to. We have tickets left. All the VIP events are sold out. A lot of the events, I think there's a few more of those tickets left. But there's a few tickets left. If you're going, don't miss Karaoke Night. That's just my favorite one. I'm not the big golf. I don't like the golf thing. You know, I don't like hitting that little freaking ball, whatever. I'm going to be there, but I'm not going to.
We'll get you to take a swing.
I mean, I'm going to have to. I did the last time I had to go around and do the stupid shit, but oh shit, she's in the chat. So you come hang with us, because what this is it's a networking event. It's not just for people to come and learn about Hex and Pulse, and which is going to be amazing in and of itself. Myself, Donovan, Ben are going to be on a panel together. We're going to get up on stage and start talking, and I'm going to get to ask some hard questions again, you know, and because it's not, it's an open forum where human beings are talking to human beings and there's an audience there listening. It's going to get to be real, you know? And so attending these things are a great way for you to really get to know people, to sit down with a guy like Axis and actually pick his brain and hear what he has to say. I mean, whenever we're on the ship, you know, we'd be sitting down. Axis would be somewhere having some coffee, and boom, one person show up, and two person. And then before you know it, there's like 12 people around Axis, like talking crypto, you know, and listen to him. And so there's something that happens, you know, at these events where you really get the belief in what it is that we're doing here, because we're not just building a community of people buying and selling a crypto. We're building a marketing team with all this. And so all of us getting to know each other and trust one another And hey, who knows? Your next business partner or your next ex-wife might be there. You know, I mean, we've had romances and everything else show up at these events. So, you know, come hang out with the Hex Kids and really get to know them and really be part of the system. Or maybe you never know what could happen to you. Oh, and Danny the singer. Well, he's a real singer. I mean, that guy really has some pipes. But I think me and you, Axis, we got to do it, man. I know the kind of guy you are. You ain't gonna want to do nothing like that. You ain't even gonna want to go into that karaoke bar. But me and you,
you're 100% correct. Not because I can't, but just because I tend not to anymore. I hung that up a long time ago. I still remember the 4th grade play when I was the lead role, but I hung it up, man. But maybe we'll have to bring it back out.
Oh, there's only 11 tickets left for the karaoke. So, they're going away now. Now people are buying the karaoke tickets. Well, that means that they're going to be gone soon, guys. So if you want to get to karaoke night, get in there and go get your karaoke night tickets. So there, I hope I did a good enough job of talking about it. But to be honest, the best thing about the Hex King community has been the events that I've gone to. You know, I mean, the first time you and I met when we did the grave stomp video over at
oh boy,
Freddie's place.
Stomping on coffins, dancing, hooting and hollering. Hey, that was cool. We got to meet that was my first time meeting the Highest of Stakes crew.
Yeah, I mean, all of us. I mean, that was when I had my actual business meeting with them, and you know, we were doing all that. That was cool. But were you with us that morning when we went and picked up the coffin?
I was there that whole time, but I don't remember if I went to. I didn't pick it up. No, I was there when you guys got back.
Oh my gosh, that was.
Yeah, it was like a last second.
That was the most horrifying experience
oh God,
ever, bro. I mean,
they just got a.
I don't know if people heard the story, but we've told it before. But we were all there at Freddie Quotes' place doing the infamous funeral video, the Furu's eulogy. And the neighbor was trying to build a coffin that we can have there because we were doing this whole thing in a church and it was going to be you've seen the video. And he was trying to get it done and it was too late and everybody's getting drunk and it's not done yet. And, but we had another line on a coffin and it just happened to be like a funeral home. Like they had this wooden coffin that we could go pick up and it became available like at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So we all got in Freddie's truck and we blow down to go pick up this coffin. And it's literally at a crematorium, right? So we go to the crematorium.
Oh
God. And this is freaking so bad. This is so bad. They give us a coffin. They had just taken the person out of the coffin and put them in the furnace. So it was a coffin just to transport. And I mean, I won't get into details about what was going on inside the coffin. But it was real. And we had this coffin sitting in the back of the truck and we were taking it to, back to Freddie's house at 8 o'clock in the morning, drinking coffee and just laughing the whole way at what we were doing. And it was, that was just real dark. Dark.
The darkest part was when Joker popped out of that thing.
And then Joker got inside the damn thing. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I saw that thing.
There was juices all over in there.
Oh my God.
Lord, God rest our soul.
We're all going to hell. We're going to hell for that one. I'm sorry.
All right, let's run some math. This is getting
all right, let's do the math now.
All right, check this out. So you guys, if we could double the hex stakers this cycle, we could be looking at a whopping 10-cent hex, right? This probably sounds pretty anticlimactic. This is combined too. But and so do I think we can overperform those numbers by not adding one user? Yes, I do, because I think that smart money is going to absorb the supply up and push it up anyways. But look, if we just get to 1 million users, that's a 64x price increase. So we're looking at $1.60 combined hex price just at 1 million stakers. So hey,
wow.
And
that's not counting any whale entries. That's
correct.
Just straight numbers.
That's just wallets that staked one coin, or you know what I mean, just
wonder-
users.
I wonder what an average. That would be another metric to maybe throw in there. What's the average of whale buys when you go to 500, a million, 2 million users? How many whale buys do you see in there? What percentage do you see those buys come in at on average? You know, that would be an interesting metric.
I'm not sure. I'll look into that. I would say that over half of the volume is probably just a few whales, probably. You know, 100, 1,000, whatever it's going to be.
I mean, when the adoption amplifier was launching, we knew that there was a few whales. I mean, and some of them were, I knew some of the whales, and they were coming in, and we were watching their buys, and it was moving the price even more as the users were coming in. And I think that's what kind of like starts to create that Metcalfe's law, is once that starts happening, then it starts rolling, more users, more whales buys, more users, more whale buys. And they
guess when the most people staked Hex last cycle, if on this curve, where do you think was it down here around big payday, or what do you think?
I would have to say that it had to be even. Well, are you saying after pre-big payday?
Well, I'm just asking, where on this chart do you think the most people staked Hex?
Yeah, I would actually say probably from that year, from September to September, from 20 to 21. Right there.
September of 20. So here.
So that year there, I would say that was to September. Well, I think before that, maybe closer to like June, somewhere around there. I would say.
Think like
before that big candle, right before that big candle, I would say.
This is going to blow out your mind. The most stakers staked here.
Wow.
What does that tell you about human psychology?
That they want more.
Yep. Everybody wants confirmation. Everybody likes it when things are going vertical and they get it, and they're watching the green candles is making them smarter as it goes, and they're just going to have more confidence in it. That's when you get the most. But guess what? It was really just a few whales that did that, though. It wasn't the masses that did that. $100 million, boom, 56 cents. So my thinking is, of course, it hasn't changed. I've been doing the same messaging for years, which is that green candles start the move, and we have proof, because look at Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Look what it did. Let's draw. Let's do a little drawing here, and then we'll get to the NFTs, and then we'll wrap. This is the Bitcoin price below here, this one, and then the top line is the hash rate, the Bitcoin hash rate. So what do you notice about the hash rate? The hash rate goes up forever, but it has periods where it stalls out. When it stalls out is when Bitcoin price stops going vertical, because people shut off their miners because they become unprofitable. So the most activity of new mining hardware comes on when the shit's going parabolic. But the irony of this whole equation is the most mining happens here at the peak of the market cycle. Here, where it goes at the peak of the market cycle. And then this is logarithmic, so it kind of gets like a straight line here. But the general trend here is that hash rate starts, price chases. But you get the most vertical moves on increase in hash rate when the price is when it's going vertical. So with Hex staking, the most stakers are going to come online when the price is at its highest prices. It's just because Hex is a Veblen good. If the rewards are good, more people want to get involved. It's as simple as that. And what makes the rewards good? High prices. So this is why Hex is building up like a pressure cooker. And once it gets going, there is going to be so much gosh darn momentum behind it. No one is going to be able to stop it. I don't care if BankX has 14 million. I don't care if a shark wants to dump 300 million Hex at 20 cents. Because by then there's going to be so much money inflows, it's not going to be able to stop the price, because it's like momentum. It's not. It's something that's already in motion. It's like trying to stop a tsunami from coming your way. One man can't stop the tsunami, because it's building up with all of this during these down periods. And in the case of Bitcoin, this is a long sideways period. But when this thing gets going with force.
But bro, how long are they really in the cycle of all things, in the cycle of all investments? How long are those really? Those are really short bear periods when it comes to it. Like this is the longest one we've ever experienced, but the world experiences these types of things in all investments just as long or longer.
Yep. Here, let's look at that, because that's a really good point, and we can look at something.
We're
like
in crypto.
S&P.
Everybody's very impatient. Everybody wants to get rich tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we can go back and look at the S&P going back to the Great Depression here, and it'll tell you exactly what's been happening for forever, basically. This period of bear market was 8,800 days. This period of bear market was 4,000, so half as long. This period of bear market was about 4,000. So they're getting shorter.
Getting shorter. The pumps are getting longer.
Pumps are harder. It's because your dollar is worth bullshit. That's why.
A market. That's a market. That is what a market does. Period. It's time in the market, not timing the market. And I'd like to, before we end, I want to end with two things. Dick's Insider. But why would I want to stake after seeing hundreds of people complain about being staked and not being able to sell the top and take profits? I like learning from other people's mistakes, just saying. So you're right and you're inaccurate, Dixon, because yes, you want to have liquid during the pumps, but that's what staking's for. And that's what emergency end staking's for. And that's what all of these tools are for. So getting the maximum amount of return on your dollar versus getting liquefied. Look, the T-share was made to destroy narratives like yours. And here's why. And I'm not punching at you. What I'm saying is your argument was made early on when Hex was first being developed. When Hex was first being developed, there was no T-share. There was an interest rate return. And one of the smart guys like yourself went into the chat room and said, hey, check this out, dudes. You can all stake all your 15-year stakes all you want. I'm going to rip the shit out of you by staking 30-day stakes, and I'm going to cash out when I want to, and I'm going to make the same amount that you guys are making, but I'm going to rip you apart. And Richard and Kyle and everybody was like, he's right. He's absolutely 100% right. If we don't figure out a different mechanism, short stakers will beat long stakers. So they created the T-share. And the T-share is what separates that from everything else. Because of how the T-share operates, you're making a return on top of a return on top of a return. And what happens is because of that rate going up, you're compounding so hard that, okay, if you're in a 15-year stake, you're compounding harder than anything, harder than anybody.
I think what's hard for him to understand is it's not that people don't get that. Like Dixon's a smart guy. It's basically like what you're forgetting, Dixon, is you can buy more down here, but you're not going to want to buy more at 50 cents and you're not going to want to buy it at $5. Yeah. So the only way you're going to get more units at that point when the price bottoms out here at 38 cents next bear market is by staking.
I'm running my mouse over the top of it, wanting to see. So go back to that last circle you had. So go back to the bottom right there.
This one, yeah.
So if you're holding here at the bottom, you're holding Hex, you're getting diluted. Now go back up to the top there. From there to there, you're getting diluted by just holding liquid Hex. The staker that holds for 15 years is pumping his bags. Now, let's just say, how many years was that? 24, 25, 26, 27. Go out 7.5 years from that starting point. From the bottom there. Go out 7.5 years.
How many years how many days is in 7.5? Let's see.
Just go close to 7, right around there. Doesn't matter.
Let's be right.
Just a kind of a
7.5. 2,737. And look you could time this up with the next market cycle top. Exactly. Yep. Bam. There it is.
Pretty
7
close.
years.
So when we stretch it out 7 years, that's where you can pull your principal back out. And that's where if Hex is at $24 and you're pulling your principal out after, a 15 years or beyond a 15-year stake, you're beating everybody that sold in between all of those years, because nobody's going to sit there and hold for 7.5 years. They're just not going to do it. Mm-hmm. But if you have to hold for that long, and people just don't hold that long, they end up they'll sell a different level of the top there. There's probably 4 or 5 different places where people are going to sell, and then who knows what personal situation is going to come.
Here's where they're going to sell: 12 cents, like maybe some will sell at 20 cents, 50 cents. You clear that and it's clear skies. And then you'll have people, you know, not wanting to sell anymore because the market psychology now has changed and you've broken the all-time high. And now it's like, oh, it's going to go up forever. Like everything changes when shit gets parabolic like that.
Yep.
And so like,
changes.
and then
When
like
gets
they'll be
in the face, it changes.
this is where the next 10,000 I'm sorry, this is where the next million users comes in, is right when we break the all-time high here. And then they all ride this up to like $4 or $5 and they don't sell and they don't sell and they don't sell. And finally, like, I can't take it anymore. And they sell 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 and they sell. And then eventually a new market cycle. It's just, it's happened before. Like, we're only doing something that's a proven concept from Bitcoin. We're not doing something new. Hex got to live on the back of Bitcoin in a lot of ways and learn from its mistakes. And, you know, with that staking strategy, this is what I'm going to be talking about in Vegas in my passive income talk. There's a whole bunch of slides about Hex staking strategies. And this is one of my slides from it. And I want you to know, look, stop thinking so fucking linearly about Hex staking. I have this much Hex and I have to stake the whole bag in one stake for 50. No, dude, it's like, are you doing market cycle ladders? Are you clustering your stakes around predicting the cycle tops? Are you locking and rolling? Are you doing 30 days and then taking the free yield and locking it up for 15 so that you can compound that into an endless Quattro Cinco stake where you got lifetime max length ladders coming off every year, twice a year for perpetuity? Are you buying discounted Maximus perp stakes so you can avoid all the ETH and stake gas fees and just frickin' earn T-share rate from 3 years ago now? Are you doing icosahedron to borrow 10x the amount of hedron into the now moment? Are you using Hex and Com to get 15-year stakes out there and get value back in Com? Are you combining any of these? Like, there's just, people don't understand the power of the Hex system, and I can't wait to unveil it for people at the Vegas meetup.
This is going to be awesome. So let me, and that's the second thing I want to talk about, was one last time I wanted to get the Vegas info out there. So few tickets left for the karaoke night that you don't want to miss. If there's any party, it's the karaoke night. Get there. Don't miss it. Funny stuff. Great entertainment. Good fun. After the seminar, there is going to be an after party with a private club, DJ, that whole thing. That's going to be your party night. That's the DJ night, party night, dance club, the whole thing. Very, very fun. And then, of course, let's not forget this Friday. And you may have or may not have seen it. I've seen it. But there is the Axis.
I was told to share it with everyone so they know what they're
Let's see it, bro. Let's see it. The axisALiVE NFT launch on Free Mint Friday. We're going to see that at 4 p.m. On the Spaces, and it's going to be hosted by me and Axis. Look at that. Look at that. Fine looking Axis right there. Oh, we can't hear him.
He's got more hair than me. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I can do the.
Hey, we're gonna fly you to Turkey and get you some hair, bro. We're gonna fly you to Turkey. This cycle, we're flying you to Turkey and getting you some hair.
Here, let's see if this works so that you can hear it. I don't know if I can.
Now look at all these tabs this guy has opened up. Now that's a man who knows what he's got going on.
Anyway, you guys will get to see more about this Friday.
And it says conviction is the what is it? What was it? Conviction is the
conviction is the cure to dilution.
The cure to dilution.
So what does that mean? That means that if you there's this common misunderstanding that, you know, broke rich guys diversify. Really rich guys, they consolidate their economic energy into something that's going to work and going to bring giga wealth. So do you want to be giga wealthy or do you just want to be like broke rich? That's the difference. If you diversify too far out, you spread things out too far, and you don't have conviction in something, you're going to get diluted and you're not going to have as big of gains. So look, I'll end up being right on a long enough time frame with Hex. I'm 100% confident in that. And
it's a beautiful part of it.
You know, just wait for time to do its part.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me on, bro. Hey, everybody, on Friday, we're going to be doing this NFT collab together and throwing that out there for the Vegas event. And again, go to PulseChainTour.com. That's PulseChainTour.com to get your tickets for the events. and get to Karaoke Night and come hang out with us and party and don't miss the event. There's going to be some really cool speakers, and Axis is going to reveal all of this stuff, and I can't wait for that.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate having you on, and
all right, my brother.
We'll see you on Friday. See you guys.
See you on Friday. See ya.